space. Here we have a special guest with us for the Inspiration in 30 today, Miss Jackie, who is always so amazing every time she comes. So, Miss Jackie, thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to have you.
Good morning.
Yes,
Good morning. Good morning. Happy to be here. Thank you.
yes. So, of course, when we do our Inspiration in 30, the biggest thing that we, try to talk about is we try to make sure that we start our day off in a way in which, we could get through our day and have some fun, right? And the way that we do that
Right.
is I come every morning to talk about different things. The biggest thing that we talk about is making sure that we continue to love ourselves and making sure that we continue to know who we are when we go out in these streets, right?
That's
Because
right.
right,
That's right.
because
You know,
that's where you really got to practice all of this, all of your tools and all of your, behaviors and all that stuff, right? So today
yeah,
we
yeah.
want to talk about the biggest thing, how to teach people how to treat you. Can you start us off on something?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. This is just a subject that I just love and talk about so much because, often, we grow up accepting the way that we have been treated from
Mhm.
children because we haven't been taught to do anything different except people treating us the way that they want to treat us, starting with our parents, right?
Right.
And then, but we're adults now, we're adult women loving ourselves, learning to love ourselves. And one of the things that we need to inspire to do is to teach people how to treat us. Because if we don't teach people how to treat us, they will treat us the way that they want to treat us to for their own selves and for their own agendas. And so it's really important for us to teach people and show people how to treat us.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways in which we do that is to set boundaries. And of course, it goes right back to what you talk about and teach so much, Gloria, is that we have to love ourselves first in order to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We have to love ourselves first in order to do that.
Now, Miss Jackie, I would ask you because most of the most of the time we live in real life, right? And this is what I talk about every day. We live in real life. I'm about to go to work, you about to go to work. Everybody is about to do their own thing. They teaching their kids, they working from home, they doing all this stuff, right? The mind
That's
goes into
right.
these
That's right.
patterns, right? The mind goes into these patterns because you got to get stuff done, right?
Yeah.
And what you
Yeah.
what you start to discover as you start to move along, you say to yourself, why do I allow people to treat me this way? Or why am I being treated in a certain way from my kids, from my spouse, from anything? At that moment when you wake up, is that considered to be the point where you had enough, or you just being aware of how you being treated? Because we don't know. And that's the thing, because we so used to being treated one way, right?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And what you're really talking about is a habit
Mm,
because we have a habit of allowing people to treat us and to talk to us any kind of way, to put their agendas or put what they want first in front of us, and we have a habit of accepting that in order to please them at first, instead of thinking about how we need to wake up and how am I going to please myself first this morning when I wake up? What am I going to do for me today? Because what I do for me today means that if I'm doing the best that I can for me, I'm going to be able to do the best for you and everybody else on my job, in my house, and people I meet and that I don't even know. I can't do it unless I do it for myself first,
Right. And I talk about
unless
that.
I love myself first.
I talk about that. And at the same time, Miss Jackie, when you think of the reality, it's like, now if I really do this, I'm gonna start to feel guilty, or he might leave me, or
Yeah,
they might yell at
yeah,
me. So let me go ahead
that's
and
right.
just stay the
Mm,
way I am, or my boss might, fire me, or I will probably not get that promotion that I'm up for. And that's the fear that stops
hmm.
us, right? Because we always sit up
It
there and
is.
say,
It
and
is.
we always sit up there and think that something is going to come back to us that's in a negative way if we do start to form
Yeah,
these boundaries. What is it that we have to
that's right.
realize once we do, decide not to let people treat us this way? We have to be prepared for what? We have to be prepared for things to go the other way, right?
That's right. That's right. And I mean, you bring up such a good point because one of the things that we learn to do and be comfortable with is dysfunction. We learn to function in dysfunction. And therefore we're not willing, or we don't trust ourselves. Of course, in me, I trust God first, but we don't trust that we can make a change and we can change our behavior, because you've heard me more than once saying, once we change our behavior, everybody else around us is going to change theirs, or they're going to move out the way. And if they have to move out the way, so be it. But we have to learn to change a habit of accepting what we need to change. And you know what? A lot of it starts when I talk about the trust. Also, a lot of us are fearful. We're afraid to make that change, like you said, because this, maybe if I don't do what this person wants me to do, they'll leave me, or they won't help me anymore. They won't pay my cable bill or whatever it is. And the thing, it's true. But the thing is that what we have to do is look first and foremost what's going on with our own selves. What is there a hole in our soul? And most of us do. We have a hole somewhere in our soul. But we have to begin to take the chance to step out of, even if it is about finances. But if it's destroying you, what good is it doing you? Sometimes you have to trust and trust that, okay, I'm going to let you go because you are not treating me the way I wanted to be treated. And it might mean that I have more bills than money for a while, but that'll change. That'll change. It gets better. You have to start from where you are. And I just believe that we have to teach people, because you know what? Now we're talking about protecting our peace.
Mm. Hmm.
First of all, before you even protect it, you have to get to it. And you're not going to get to it unless you take care of yourself first and love yourself the most. And doing that, when you do that, when you really love yourself, you're able to set those boundaries and let people know. If you continue to talk to me this way, if you continue to do this, then I can't be in your space
Well, that's the thing,
and
Miss
be
Jackie.
okay with it.
That's the thing, Miss Jackie. You got a relationship you've been in for a very long time. It could be with a spouse, it could be with your kids,
Yeah,
it could be everything.
yeah,
Right now, we probably
yeah.
8, 10 years deep, right? I know that this is
Mm-hmm,
not right
mm-hmm.
for me, right?
Yeah,
But he brings home
yeah,
the money, right? I work at a
yeah.
mediocre job. I don't like my damn job. We got kids
Mm-hmm,
together, right?
mm-hmm,
And now I'm looking in the
mm-hmm.
mirror at myself and I know I need to change. But I'm trying to put
Yes,
my plan together to see how I can actually manage to do,
right.
this thing of loving myself, But every time I look in that
Mm-hmm.
mirror, I still see that person who is stuck. Only because I am
Mm-hmm.
constantly thinking about all of the things that I did wrong, right? And now I want to change.
Right.
But loving myself means what? When how do I start? And this is what I tell the women all the time, because they tell me, Gloria, okay, you keep saying love yourself, love yourself. What does that mean? Because I don't like what I see when I look in the mirror. I don't even look.
Yeah. Yeah. Or walk by real fast, right? Yeah, no, I get it. You see the shadow, right? And
Right.
that's what we need to look at is the shadow. And that is so true because we talk about telling people this is what we think you should begin to do is to love yourself. And I love the fact that what you do is to not just say that, but you actually tell people how to do that. I encourage people to look in the mirror and not see what they want to see, not see what is a lie, but to see the truth. Look deep, be with yourself. Look, and when you talk about when I look, I don't want to see the little girl. I don't want to see all that I've been through. I don't want to see where I am. But we've got to confront that in order to change it. Because what we can say to ourselves, and we're the best, nobody can encourage us like we can encourage ourselves. And we have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Yes, Jackie, you have been through trauma. This has happened. That has happened. I made mistakes, but today I'm making a change, and that's not who I am choosing to be anymore. I am worth it. I am enough right where I am right now. And I am going to make this change starting today. So we
Yeah.
really have to talk to ourselves and encourage ourselves and be around people who are positive and encourage us as well. And again, when you start off little, if you have to, make a change. Make a change by when you come in the house, even from your job, and everybody's waiting on you to cook or do something for them. Start there. Make the change and say, you know what? When I first come in the house, I'm going to go and be with myself for an hour and calm myself and which is a thing that you do if you love yourself, because what you're doing is taking care of yourself before you can walk out the bedroom door and start taking care of the rest of the family. Take care of yourself. Start with little things, even. Make the change your behavior. And people come to expect how you behave when you change. They know you're not going to walk in the house and the kids are going to start, crying out, shouting out, I need this for school. I need to do this. Or your man come in, where's the pork chops? It ain't on the table. So, you have to change your behavior. You got to change. They're not going to change because they want what they want, period. It doesn't matter if you come second or third or never, but it has to matter to you, because that also teaches them. It teaches your kids. It teaches them how to do the same thing that you're need to do for yourself.
Right. I looked in the mirror this morning and I said to myself, I said, I said, Gloria, you are doing so well. I said, I love you. And I have my little
Yeah.
inspiration things on the mirror, right? And I sat up
Yes.
there
Yes.
and I said to myself, I said, you know what? You're not a perfect person, but you know what God put in you to help other people. And
Right.
every day that you looking at yourself, just know that you are moving forward and you are going to do this and you are going to fulfill, your dreams and everything that you want to do. So when you go out today, make sure that you are your best self. Make sure that you doing what you
That's
supposed to
right.
do, right? But I had to practice that,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
I had to
That's right.
practice that
That's right. That's
because
right.
in the
Just
beginning I didn't believe it, right?
yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. And we can start off like that, Gloria, where we have to begin to, when I'm talking about changing our behavior, we're talking about exactly what you're saying, practicing. Everything that anybody becomes successful at, they have to practice at. Think about people who play sports, basketball, football, whatever, ice skating, anything. Doctors, they practice at what they're learning to become experts and really good at. And so what you're doing when you look in the mirror every day, you're practicing, and then it becomes just reinforcement. And it's so important that we do that, because really, who else is going to, nobody's going to knock on the door and say, hey, I think you are beautiful. I think you are worthy. I think you're successful. Nobody's going to really do that. Even the people in your house. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself and tell yourself that, because when you walk away, you're pumped up. You're feeling, yeah, that's me. This is who I am. Even if you might not believe it yet, start it.
Right.
Start it. It
Hmm.
becomes a habit.
And you know what? And then when you go out into the world after you affirm yourself, then you start to think like, okay, when all of these things start coming at you, the day starts, right? So the boss came in
That's
angry
right. That's
already,
right.
right? And you got a ton of emails to look at. You're
Yeah.
still trying to figure out how you're gonna solve this problem, and you already thinking about things that
Yeah.
you need to do from now until Friday. It gives you that comfort to know that this is something that you can handle, that you got control over it, and and the only thing that you can do
Oh, yeah.
is the best you can, right? Right.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I love that example that you're giving when you, like you said, when you come into work, and the boss is, maybe not in the best mood, or, other people around you gossiping or whatever. What you have to do is stay in control of your own self at all times, as much as possible, and not allow other people's thoughts, feelings, or behaviors to change yours. And that goes back to even before you even leave the house, or with the
Mhm.
people that's in the house. I'm not going to wake up and ask my partner or my lover, my husband, or whoever, and say, hey, baby, how we feeling today? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to feel and think and do what I need to do for me first and foremost for today. Not saying that I don't care, but we just have to stay in control of our own thoughts and control of our own feelings and control of what we do. That's all we can do. So whatever you do at work, my boss or people around me, I don't have to let that become a part of what I am thinking and feeling, because then that affects what I do. I can't do it. I can't give people that power.
But Miss Jackie, it's like, you love these people who are around you, right? And you know
Yes.
that you know that you feel in your heart that you need to change. And even when you embark on a change and you start getting that pushback, you start to second guess yourself because they
Mhm.
make you feel like you're doing something wrong and
Right.
you're being selfish, and it makes you feel guilty. And so how do you handle that? How do you, because it feel like you choosing, right? You choosing yourself and feeling guilty along the way, and it's easy to slip back in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they are people. Yeah. When we start to change, the people around us, they become frightened. They're like, oh my God, I can't control her anymore. I'm losing control, because now she's starting to think for herself, and she's starting to love herself more than she loves me. And we
Mhm.
have to continue, even when the people push back, like you said. Yeah, they're gonna push back because they see now again that I don't have the control. But a good thing to do too is to tell people. And this is where it goes back to where you're saying, we talked about how to teach people how to treat us. We have to have a conversation sometimes. And it doesn't have to be a nasty conversation, or, anything that's negative. It can be positive. You can just say to people, well, you know what? I've learned something that I need to do for myself, and that is I'm going to put myself first and do what's best for me. And I want to do that because I want to be the best for you. So you can give people notice that you're making a change in the way that you are thinking and feeling about your own self. And if anybody has an issue with that, that's on them. Those are their thoughts.
Yeah.
That's on them. You can't change other people's thinking. Yeah. No.
I think in doing this work, what I tell the ladies all the time, you have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for that pushback, and you have to be prepared for the uncomfortability and the tension and all that stuff, because now you're doing something
That's
different.
right.
Now they're
That's
like,
right.
okay,
That's right.
you telling me to wash my
That's
own
right.
damn dishes, or you giving me a paper plate telling me to go ahead and throw it
Right.
out, where that's not what I'm used to. What's wrong with
Right.
you? You know,
Right.
you
That's
found
right.
this
Because you're
pill and pound
changing.
thing,
And
right?
yeah, and it's true because like your people will even say, "Well, you didn't make no chops on Wednesday and Friday,"
Mhm.
and you didn't bring me home when I asked you what you usually do. You don't do what you've been usually doing, and I don't like it. They're gonna let you know that, of course, because what they're saying is they're taking care of themselves first. That's
That's
what
right.
they're saying to you,
Hmm.
and there you are being a part of taking care of them first, people pleasing. We cannot be the best for anybody else that we love dearly unless we're doing the best for ourselves. In order to do that, if you habitually have been taking care of everybody else, the kids and everything else first, your parents or whatever, you don't have to stop doing that, but what you have to start doing is taking care of yourself first, because you don't want to become resentful. You don't want to be broke down. You don't want to be unhealthy, because if you become unhealthy and broke down, what's going to happen to these people that you love?
Correct. Correct.
It's about change and having the strength and knowing the power from within. We're all equipped with everything that we need to be the best that we are. It's already there. You just got to tap into it and continue to get up and look at this inspiration in 30 and feed your soul. Don't be afraid. Don't get stuck thinking about who you were. Don't allow other people to tell you who you are. They don't know. Don't allow other people to hold stuff over your head and remind you of who you are and who you're not. People want to beat you down. And that's one of the tools that people use. Well, remember when you did that and you said, yes, I remember that, baby. I remember that. But you know what? I apologize if it affected you in a negative way. But that's not who I am today. This is who I am and who I'm choosing to be.
And
See,
that's
you
one of the
start
things I
teaching
want to talk
people.
about. That's I want to talk about, Miss Jackie, because that's a common thing that happens when you start to change and people try to remind you of who you were, and
Woo.
then they stick to
Mm.
it. That's the thing. They stick to it.
Yeah.
They say, hey, no, I remember
Yeah.
when you used to XYZ. And the reason why I don't
Yeah.
talk to you and none of this no more is because you such and such and such. It's like you don't know who I am, right?
Yeah.
But your perception of
That's right.
who you think I
That's right.
am is what's holding you back,
That's
and that's
right.
fine. So that means that
That's right.
between you and I, we can't be friends, right? Because you won't let go of this perception. Now, what if this is a child?
Right.
What if this is a child? What if this is a husband and you feel like you're in
Mm-hmm.
this relationship? How do you handle that? Because that's not easy to get out of. If it's a boyfriend or a friend, you could just cut that off. But if you seeing these people every
Right.
day, how do you handle that when they looking at your old self?
Yeah. Right. By and this That's a really good question, because because people think that, well, because I've been this way for so long, I can't change. They won't allow me to change. Well, who's giving them the power to tell you that you cannot change? We're giving people permission to tell us that we cannot change. And so what we should do is really continue to stay focused on our own change. It's just like if you get sick and you have high blood pressure and the doctor says, okay, you need to stop eating this or that. You're making a change, and you're making a change for your physical health. Now you need to make the change for your emotional and your mental health. And it's all right to tell people that's what you do or what you're going to do and continue to do it. Don't give in, don't give up, because habits take just not a whole lot of time to change, to show the change. But if you stick to what you are saying, what you are going to change and what you are going to do, those people are going to fall in place. Or they're, like I said, they're going to move out of the way. There's nothing that they don't have any power over us. No one has power over us. So no one can tell us that what we are and what we aren't. We don't have to accept that. But we have to remain steady. Don't give in and go back. Continue to make the change.
Oh,
Continue.
Miss Jackie, now you hyping me up because I know we got like 2 minutes, but that's the biggest thing I want to talk about is the part of going back, right? You it's like a battle, Miss Jackie. And I
It
tell the
is.
women all
It
the
is.
time, you gotta
It
be
is.
able to get comfortable in knowing that you're not perfect and some things you are not going to do right.
That's right.
Only because you are
That's
so
right.
used to being in this routine. And like how you taught me, it is your brain that's telling you that something is out of whack
That's
because
right.
you are doing this new thing. So when you
Right.
decide
Right.
that you're going to change and you slip up and you go back and you fall into the same thing over and probably over again, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you manage to keep yourself in a position where you can finally say no and come out, because it hurts, right?
Right.
When you're making this change,
Right.
it hurts,
Right.
right? So, and
It
I'm not just
does.
talking about
It does.
relationships, because it hurts, because you afraid if you do step up to that boss at the job, you might be out. You might
Yeah.
lose this man.
That's right.
You might lose your kids
That's right.
because they feel like you're not putting their needs first, and so you go back, or you keep enabling them, right? And then you say to
Mm-hmm.
yourself,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and I'm gonna stand up for me, and this is gonna be it. I'm not doing this shit with y'all anymore, and not at the job. But then 2 weeks later, you back in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? What you're saying is what we all are we do until we get better. We become the one of the reasons we go back, because that's what we're familiar with. That's what we've been comfortable with, even though it hurts, even though it's been painful, even though we know we need to change. But you know what? That can happen. We can have setbacks, but don't get stuck in a setback. You can find yourself back in that position and say, well, wait a minute. No, I'm making the change. Get up and go back. Go, keep going. Don't settle, Gloria. That's the
Mm.
one thing. We just have to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, I'm not going to settle. I'm going to do better. Even if you find yourself going back, get back up and get back in this race of making the change for yourself. And it'll be the best thing that can happen for your kids and anybody else. And don't fear. See, fear, the unknown. People are just so unwilling to make the change because they don't know what it's going to be like going forward. Trust yourself, trust God. Do
Mm.
it.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, that's all we got for today. That's our inspirational 30. I hope you got a lot out of that. I know you guys love Miss Jackie. We got Octavius that say good
Love
morning.
you
Dolores
too.
on. You know, you got a lot of I love you and miss you so much. I've texted and called you.
Oh, miss you guys.
Tanya, I miss these talks, and Miss Smith. That's good. Everybody's just commenting and excited. They're glad
Thank
to see
you.
you always. So thank you for coming on, Miss Jackie.
Thank you.
Hopefully we could do this again
Thank
because
you.
it's something that's needed, and this
Yes.
is real. You know, this is real talk because
Yes.
it's 8 o'clock. It's time to go to work, and I'm gonna see that
Yes.
boss, right? I'm at home teaching these kids. I don't know
Yes.
what the hell to do,
Yes.
and I'm still in the house with my
Yeah.
abuser, right? I need to know how to work this. I need a
Yeah.
plan to get out, right?
Yeah.
So, so
Have
what?
a plan. Come up with start coming up with a plan.
Mhm.
Start. You have to have a plan. You know, we can't live helter skelter. Have a plan about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it and how you're going to make this change.
Yeah, helter skelter means, ladies, that you can't live back and forth. You know what I'm saying? You can't go back and forth. Miss Jackie, old school.
Old school.
Thank you, Miss Jackie, so much for being here. All right, ladies,
My
you guys have
pleasure.
a great day, whatever it
Love
is
all of you.
you're
Thank
doing,
you.
and we'll actually do this again tomorrow at the same time.